My friend Clark Morris said, don't move the microphone, so I'm trying to obey your instructions, Clark. Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm very humbled and honored to be up here this morning. In my field, when we present, we like to hide behind our PowerPoint, so I feel very exposed right now. Feel free to look at the screens if you're... Like Libby, I feel that I don't really belong up here. I feel like there's a lot more that I need to do before I could really be deserving of this recognition, but I am very humbled and honored. I'd like to congratulate Libby and Karen. It's really nice to be up here with that group. Especially enjoyed the chance to spend time with students, faculty, and administration over the past few days. I'm so impressed with all of the students, with your work, with your character, and I think you all have a very bright future. It's been a great couple of days, and clearly this is an exciting time to be at William Jewell, so you're very blessed and you're very fortunate. So I'd like to share a few of my experiences at Jewell and then conclude with some comments of appreciation. If you're hoping to hear about science or my career, you might be a little disappointed. Instead, I'm going to speak about Spanish. So my Spanish teacher at Raytown South, Judith Bradshaw, as you just learned, was a William Jewell graduate. And she was an amazing role model for me and an influence on my life. And when I was thinking about college options, just knowing that she went here was very reassuring and was a factor in my decision making. She brought our high school Spanish group to William Jewell. At that time, Jewell hosted a Spanish contest for high school students. So there were mobs of high school students eating various Spanish and Hispanic foods and immersion in cultural experiences. And it was an amazing experience. And one of the students with me was Ruth Klingsborn, who is now my wife. And we shared time together in high school Spanish class and developed our friendship during those times. So I really feel blessed by my first exposure to William Jewell happened before I was a student here, but those were all factors in my decision to come here. Those Spanish contests were also my first time on this stage and the only other time that I've spoken on this stage, so it's maybe full circle. During my Jewell experience, I used Spanish my freshman year. We had the winter room opportunities, and I chose to do a mission trip to the Dominican Republic. During that trip, I was able to help my fellow students translate Spanish and communicate with the community that we were serving, learned about daily life of the folks that lived near to the clinic that we were constructing. Thoroughly enjoyed playing Pollo Pollo Gato, which is chicken chicken cat, and that's the children's equivalent of duck duck goose. And that was my first experience with the poorest of the poor. During our trip, we visited lepers. We visited a community of Haitian refugees. You can imagine students your age facing mothers who were trying to hand us their children to take home with us. That was a very powerful experience that stuck with me and certainly was very influential on me. During my junior year, I had the opportunity to visit Spain with two of my friends, Clark Morris and Eric Zond, and we saw many of the places that Senor Bradshaw just taught us about. So we visited the Prado, the Escorial, and so the opportunity to experience things that I'd long heard about was an amazing opportunity for me. During that trip, we went from Spain to Italy, and I had looked at Italian a little bit and thought it's similar to Spanish, so I'll just kind of jumble a little Spanish here, a little Italian there, and so I don't know what the foreign language requirement is right now, but when I was a student, it was 12 hours of foreign language, and you could only test out of 8 hours. So I decided to go out on a limb and take Spanish literature for my remaining credit hours. I don't know what year Catherine Vera retired, but she was the teacher for that. So if you knew Catherine and you know anybody with a scientific mindset, we're pretty different sides of the spectrum. Spanish literature is very abstract. It's not very linear. So I was challenged by that class. So when there was the opportunity for extra credit by writing a poem, I took her up on that opportunity. So my poem used very simple first-year Spanish, so I could have written it much earlier than taking her class, but the twist was using a word that had two meanings. In Spanish, the word vida means life, but it also means love. Like many of you, I was thinking a lot about where my life would lead me. And like some of you, I'd fallen in love with my future wife and I was thinking about the prospect of my life together with Ruth. So I'd like to share what I wrote. It may resonate with some of you. I'll share it first in Spanish. I don't know if that's a first or not, but I'm going to give it a go. ¿Dónde va mi vida? ¿Dónde va? ¿Dónde vas mi vida? ¿Dónde vas? ¿Dónde vamos mi vida? ¿Dónde vamos? No sé a dónde voy, no sé. No sabemos, no sabes dónde vas, no sabes. No sabemos dónde vamos, no sabemos. ¿Voy solo? No. ¿Vas conmigo? Sí. Vamos juntos? Siempre. Where's my life going? Where is it going? Where are you going, my life, my love? Where are you going? Where are we going? Where are we going? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. You don't know where you're going. You don't know. We don't know where we're going. We don't know. Am I going alone? No. Are you going with me? Yes. We're going together forever. My questions were not from a position of worry, but of anticipation and hope. I knew that I was not alone, and that was all that mattered to me then and now. None of you are either, and I want you to always remember that. I also want you to remember that you don't need to know where your life is going. Take joy in the journey. As we talked with many of you, we sense that anxiety and that concern that many of you are working through about your future, and I strongly encourage you just to take it one step at a time and be open to where the Spirit leads you. So I submitted the poem, earned my extra credit, and forgot that I really turned it in. So I was pretty shocked later that year to be called back up on this stage to receive the Spanish Poetry Award. But in many ways that summarizes the William Jewell experience. Where else could a molecular biology major accidentally win Spanish? Since then, I've been very blessed by my vida. My beautiful wife Ruth and I were married soon after I graduated. Ruth makes our home a place of warmth and joy. We work together as a team, and there's nothing that I could have accomplished without her. She's a constant source of love and encouragement and support. Ruth has an amazing ability to listen and to know just what to say at the right time. There are some William Jewell students here who know Ruth, and you would definitely know how true that is. I'm very blessed to be here. Our vidas are graced with two amazing daughters, Jordan and Sophia. Both daughters have had amazing successes in the spelling bee, musical accomplishments, and both have a generous heart for service. My last opportunity to use my Spanish was a mission trip to Costa Rica with our oldest daughter, Jordan. And later this summer, I'll be returning there with Sophia. So I look forward to that continued opportunity of service and using Spanish. I'd also like to thank my parents. They both worked very hard to make it possible for me to go to William Jewell. Success in science requires critical thinking, which is the new theme at William Jewell. I really like that. My mother always challenged me to be a critical thinker, and I really appreciate that. My father is a retired police officer, and I think success in science also requires observation. So many of my father's sentences began with, "Look over there," and I really appreciate the influence that that had. Ruth's parents, Paul and Mariella, have always been very kind to me and are inspiring role models of marriage and parenting. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you to the many faculty of Jewell, especially Dr. Judy Deltz, who was a very important influence on me and showed me the satisfaction and importance of research. I'm very grateful for you. My professional vida has provided me many meaningful opportunities to perform research, develop new technologies, teach, and now to support pediatric research. Science and engineering are team sports, so I thank my friends and colleagues who have worked with me throughout my career. While I do not feel deserving of this recognition, I'm very grateful and dedicated to everyone who has surrounded me and supported me. Thank you.